Hey y'all, it is I, Anthony the Canadian Guy, and welcome to Wrestlesode. I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic day, because I have such a treat for all of you. Now that it is Tuesday, June 7th, we are going to be chatting with Mr. Saturday Night. That's right, we're going to be chatting with Dylon Stone, one of my oldest friends in terms of wrestling. A really fun, charismatic guy. We had such a fun chat today. Get to talk a little bit about everything before the pandemic, what happened during the pandemic, and what he got up to, and what's now happening now that the pandemic is coming kind of to a close. But anyway, so that's today. But tonight, if you are watching this on Tuesday, June 7th, over on Twitch at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, we're going to be chatting with one of the most synonymous names with Alberta wrestling, somebody who never really does interviews. That's right, we're going to be chatting with Heavy Metal. Now, if anybody's ever been to Alberta and they know the name Heavy Metal, it's like literally one of the top names in all of independent wrestling, literally in Western Canada. So I'm super excited for that. But before we do go into that today, we're going to be chatting with Dylon Stone. So I hope you all have yourself an absolutely wonderful time. This was such a fun conversation. Hope you enjoy it. Talk to you soon. Perfect. Look at that. Look at that nice little curl. Look how handsome you are. How you been, buddy?
I've been doing great. How are you doing, Tony?
I'm doing fantastic, dude. First, I'm going to ask, what the heck is behind you? Other than, I think, a deodorant stick.
What?
Oh, it's a gun. Is it a gun?
That is a 1951 Tula Simonov.
Okay. At first I was like, this looks like some sort of lever or anything, but now that actually is. Tell us a little bit about that. I am immediately curious.
Okay, so because of COVID, obviously wrestling wasn't on the docket, so I actually got into a lot of weird hobbies.
I think a lot of people did.
You know, like making bread, braising pork. I actually got into like target shooting and gunsmithing. Actually, one of the like dozen dumb things I got because. Like when I used to run my own wrestling company, I was like doing that. I was a paramedic, I was a firefighter, and now like not wrestling, not running my company, like got a lot of time on my hands. So yeah, I got into like target shooting, and I do restorations on like old Soviet firearms. Actually,
that's crazy. Did you restore that one that's behind you right now?
I'm working on it, so I'm actually probably gonna take that. Like this one is like pristine. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live right now. It's we're just already chatting. This is how Wrestlesodes go.
Okay, so this is one I'm working on, taking a few things apart. 1 second.
Yeah.
Let's see, what year is this? 1954. My apologies. So basically, there's a lot of these like surplus left because again, when Russia went into World War II, they just made as many horrible weapons as possible very quickly.
Right.
So they basically. God, now I gotta put it back.
Sorry.
So they basically just keep producing because they were going through the Cold War and everything, and this is like one of those surplus rifles. So I just like them because I've just had more repetition at them, so I get to kind of see like how do they work. You take them apart, you build them back together, and it's just cool to have something like this piece of history. And I've been learning to do stuff with like other Soviet rifles and pistols as well.
That's so cool. So let's chat a little bit about this because you said, COVID came and it kind of wiped out wrestling for a little while and everybody kind of had to look for a little something. What kind of stuff did you get into other than Soviet firearm upkeep?
Let's see what I started in a business with my girlfriend. We started like a physiotherapy and personal training business. I got into firearms. I started buying and selling precious metals as a normal person does.
Oh, of course. I got some zinc in my back room that I need to sell.
One of my top 10 favorite metals, actually.
Oh. It's the green. It's the green.
It is. I don't have a top 10. Yeah, I got into hunting, and it was weird. Like I say, I went for the hunting for the first time in November last year. So I learned to gut an animal on YouTube. Weirdest shit ever. Don't ever do it. Like hunters, they're serial killers. There's something wrong with them.
It is quite an experience to go hunting. I have done it once in my life, and I don't envy the time I have to do it again in the future. Because my only thinking is that if I have to do it again, it's because I have to do it again in the future.
Well, with the price of meat, I mean, you might have to. I'm just saying, come with me.
There you go.
We will cut out that animal's butthole together.
We'll grab our old 1954 Soviet firearms and we'll go take out some deer, man.
Yeah, we'll just, worst case scenario, just run at it with the bayonet if we're bad shots. We'll figure this out.
Right? Just hopefully they just don't bend because he said they're so cheaply made. You just go to stab it and it just right breaks off your rifle.
Oh no, like this thing, like it still fires. Like these things are like they're made immaculately. It's just they're not user friendly.
Fair. Well, I guess the instruction manuals don't come in English these days.
Like point and click. Yeah.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, it's probably pretty easy to figure out. Why specifically the Soviet firearms? What brought you to that as opposed to, like, I don't know, a Remington or something these days?
I'm not gonna lie, you can get a lot of Soviet firearms very cheap.
It's kind of like playing orcs in Warhammer 40K. You get it because you get the most for the bang for your buck, essentially.
Yeah, you just want them to have their short sword or whatever it is.
Right? Fair enough. Well, what other kind of things? So I know at the very beginning we talked originally. I know this is kind of funny, but as soon as wrestling kind of stopped, we talked about bread. You and me both were making bread at the time. Did you continue making your bread? We were both making sourdoughs and
You were getting
focaccias.
into bread. I was getting into gardening too, but it was mostly you into bread. I was getting into cooking. Like I'm getting really into roasting pork. I found my perfect pork recipe actually. I just roasted up 12 pounds right before coming on here actually.
How did you manage that? You got like your own cooker or something, or did you just throw it in the oven?
So what I do is I like to, so you get how whatever it is, you get your dry rub and everything like that. Then you sear it, and then you can like basically do a few other things. But then I just kind of roast in the oven and just kind of keep basting and drizzling it for, again, depending on the size and the weight, for an hour, 2 hours after that. And it's just trial and error, figuring out what flavors you like, which flavors are complementary, and you just kind of go with it.
Well, what kind of are you more of a dry rub then on your pork kind of guy, or do you like to like slop it in like barbecue sauce?
Oh, like don't get me wrong, I do love being a dipper. I am a dipper by trade. I love gravy. I'm a like you couldn't tell us, but I am unhealthy. I like deep down I'm a fat kid. Like yesterday, last night, me and the lady made the guacamole, and the problem is, unless I actually like regiment and put them into like a single portion serving, I'll eat like 7 avocados because I think it's in one bowl, so that is one metric serving.
Right, and that's just so much fat. But the good news is, and we've talked about this before, you have quite the physical labor intensive job. So I mean, you like you said, you haven't wrestled in a little while, and your traps are already like bulging out of your shirt still, so you're still in good shape. So
The trick is tighter shirts. It's a natural girdle.
it's just like it's just as long as it's here up and it's a very tight shirt, they'll never know.
It's just nipples up. That's all you can see from me. I will not go any lower than nipples.
So about wrestling, do you miss it, man? Like honestly, like it's been a little while. I know everybody's kind of gotten a little bit of a new hobby. You haven't really stepped in the ring in a little bit here, but like, is that something you're interested in doing again? Like, come on, be honest.
Okay, every day. Like you think about it, like you think about like different move sets, different combinations, and different permutations of that. So, I mean, definitely, it's just my work schedule and everything. It's very hard for it to make it worthwhile for what I want to do. Like I want to do something that's meaningful. I want to do something that's fun and interesting. But again, like say with comes like RCW, they're doing what 8, 9, 10 shows a month. So unless I'm making all of those, it's very hard for me to actually be part of their lineup and continue those stories. Otherwise, I'm just very much an a la carte guy where I can do random matches here and there, and they can be good. It's just that I don't think they carry the emotional weight for myself or the audience because there's no follow up with it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. As I've always said in the past, it's like you're such a character. It's not easy enough to just stick somebody in a match from time to time. You've got such personality. You want it to shine through. You want to be able to tell stories and stuff like that. So,
Well, I
if
mean, but for that singular match, yes, you can have a story, but I can develop that emotional development to like further the angle. It's so difficult for me if I'm there once a month, once every 2 months, once every 6 weeks. It's by the time it's the next show runs right, I've already forgotten about what I'm doing. So it's hard for the audience and myself to develop emotionally into what's going on.
yeah, I completely understand that. Is there any promotions that you've talked to about maybe kind of stepping back into the ring with anytime soon, or is it still kind of up in the air as things are still kind of up in the air?
People talk to me. Oh, sorry.
No worries. Nice red earbuds, by the way. Like you don't see that fluorescent red ever.
Well, I brought it. It matches the shirt.
There you go.
I mean, people have asked me. Like, I even had some offers in Mexico and stuff like that. It's just, again, I got to make it work for myself, for my time, for my scheduling, and have something that's going to be fulfilling for me from like a storytelling standpoint as well as from an athletic standpoint, getting in the ring. Also, I got to make sure it works for the companies. I'm sure they want to make a little bit of money off me too.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, in terms of like the local independent scene, even though you're not wrestling, have you been keeping up with it? Have you been going to shows like any of the indie shows just on weekends and stuff?
Usually, I'll watch like the Facebook lives, or I'll like like kind of get little clips from people or trade tapes. Just because I do want to kind of see what the young guns are doing, kind of just seeing where the industry is going, like who's on top and whatnot.
Well, that was actually what I was about to ask you. Is like, is there anybody that you're seeing kind of rising through the ranks now that COVID is over that you're like, I haven't had a chance to step in the ring with them, but they're doing some amazing stuff now, and I would love to try to get in the ring with them.
Everyone from the top talent school has done great. Like you're seeing Stephen Crow, you're seeing Ava, you're seeing Taryn from accounting, seeing Goose. Like you're seeing a lot of those people. Oh, and Zoe. Sorry, there's so many of them right now that are coming up and just doing great things there. Yeah, sorry, what was part of the question? Yeah, there's some people doing great things, especially from where they started to where they are now. Like it's just they've grown by leaps and bounds. It's great to see that.
Is there anybody in specific you'd love to just hop into the ring with? Like, is there like a return match that you'd be like, oh, this would be the perfect return match?
I'm seeing a lot of good stuff with Rich King, especially what he's doing from the promotional side, like doing videos and whatnot like that. I think they're doing. What did I see today? I can't even remember what the segments are called, but I think it's Tales from the Mid Card, I believe they call it. It's interesting. It's getting people to click, and it's doing more on social media than what a lot of other people are doing. So that's awesome to see.
Absolutely. I actually love Rich King. I love seeing the stuff that he's been posting on social media. RK Athletics, obviously, a nice little sponsor here of the show. So we got to give him a shout out. Obviously, also, one of the most ripped guys in Alberta. He's one of the only people who can keep up with you in terms of the trap department, probably.
He's so good looking. Like he is ripped. He's got a baby face. Like I hate him. He makes me feel bad about myself on a daily basis.
And then, of course, then I look at you compared to me, and I'm just like, that son of a bitch. That guy over there just makes me feel so bad. I can't get away with a nice curl. Like, you know what I mean? You got this like curl thing you could just put on. It just totally works for you. Oh, dang! Look at that right there. Give me your. Can I see your best blue steel? Oh, perfect. There it is. There's the screenshot for the episode right there.
I mean, this thing's cool, but I fucking hate, like, if I'm doing cardio, like, that's the one thing about having long hair now. I've never had it before until COVID, because I'm like, I'm just going to grow a mohawk. But, like, when I'm doing cardio or doing anything, this thing is just...
It just dances around in your face.
Oh, dude, it drives me. I got to start, like, and I start putting, like, things in little pony nubs. Like...
I give it to people who have thick mustaches because, like, I just don't get it. Like, after a while, it like, curls into your mouth and it just becomes the most annoying thing in the world. I can imagine it's pretty similar. How it's just always there.
Oh, like I mean, you can trim it underneath, but the thing I both love and hate mustache. Like, I love the idea of a mustache. Like, as a firefighter, that's like the thing where that's how you know who the chief is, the guy with the biggest mustache.
Right.
But the problem is, like, I am so bad with it. I'll grow one, and if it's like a millimeter off, I freak out. So I'm like, I trim it, then I'm off center, trim it again, off center. Now I'm left with a Hitler, and then you have to shave it after that.
Well, at the very least, you have a jawline, right? So there's that. If I go too far, it's just a big circle down here, and it doesn't look. I use this to fake a jaw, actually. But so you said you've worked in as a firefighter. You've worked in like working in an ambulance and doing first aid and everything like that. What made you interested in doing something like that? Because that takes a very special type of person and a commitment to a very difficult job. And I've known a few people to do that job, and you're all a little crazy. So what made you kind of love the idea of saving people's lives for a living?
Jesus Christ. You are a... Why do you save people? Why do you risk life and limb and for the benefit of others? Like, look.
There are people who will just not do that, right? I mean, it takes, like I said, it takes a person to be able to put yourself in those situations.
I mean... that or there's something mentally wrong with us, as you'd like pointed to. I feel bad because a lot of people do like that service ad hominem, that service to humanity, and want to be like make the world a better place. Like those people are amazing. I got drunk and walked into a fire hall like 15 years ago, so that's I did. I was working nightclubs and I used to do like personal training, sport performance, blah blah blah. Lost my job. May have assaulted a client. Anyway, the point is. Well, technically battery. Assault is the threat of violence. Battery
is when you complete the action.
Exactly.
Right. You don't go half-assed when you do something.
No, I always complete. I always finish. So getting away from that. So I lost my job. I was working in nightclubs. And I think it was like after UFC 100. So I'm a little bit shit-faced. And I'm like, I'm not going to drive to work. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to stumble downtown. And so where I was staying at the time, I walked by the fire hall in Red Deer. And I'm like, are those guys barbecuing? I need to investigate. So I literally just walked into the fire hall, and they're watching the replay of UFC 100, barbecuing, eating pizza, and whatnot. And they're like, "Can we help him?" Like, "Are you guys getting paid for this?" Like, "Yeah." How do I get a job? And here I am.
What an amazing story. And now it's like 15 years later. So I guess, has that ever really come up? And like, has that been a very useful skill to have in just in random situations? Like where you're just like, I know you probably never want to do first aid outside of work because this is like, why would you ever want to? But like, has that ever really been a super useful thing? Have you been in emergency situations outside of work?
Like outside of work? Oh, all the time. I do my best to pretend I'm not a paramedic. I'm like, "Oh, that looks horrible. You should call an ambulance."
It's like, I'm just gonna go that way before I say what I am.
I mean, obviously, like if it's a life or death situation, yeah, I've seen people crash into light standards. You run up, you go save them, you do what you do, blah blah blah. I do apologize if I'm very like kind of abrupt with it. It's just it sounds weird, but I feel very uncomfortable with the idea of being like a lifesaver. It's
fair.
It just makes me feel weird. Like I just like this is what adults do. I am not an adult, so it's kind of hard for me to reconcile that. Like
Fair.
I'm very much a jokey, very charismatic, and very funny. So it's almost like I can't reconcile the two things. It's almost like it's like an alter ego.
You become a different person in those moments. It's much easier. It's like everything else kind of fades away and you go into emergency mode, right?
Yeah, and it's just weird because it's hard for me to, again, to reconcile that because I don't really see that as who I am. That's a function of what I do. It's a job, so it's so opposite and benign and disjointed and dislocated from what I do or what I am as a person.
Well, that actually brings me to a great question then. If when you go and you're in those situations and you don't always think of those situations, you're like, this is who I am as a person. When you see yourself and you think, this is who I am as a person, what is it that you're doing? What are you picturing yourself doing?
Catching Pokemon. I'm such a I'm the joke guy. Like whenever you see me out and about, it's always we're ribbing, we're having fun, we're making jokes. I just see myself as very much like a people person. I see myself as the social lubricant a lot of times. I guess it's more comfortable to see myself that way.
That's understandable. So you're always kind of looking at yourself as more like you would rather bring levity to a situation than have to command a situation, kind of a thing. You would rather be making people laugh and enjoying your time as opposed to having to put on a serious hat all the time, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's different hats for different situations. If I need to do that, if no one else is able to take charge, I guess yeah, that's what I do. But again, I do prefer to just be happy-go-lucky, social lubricant. I like to be fun. I love to entertain. I guess that's more so what it is. I love to entertain people.
Is that what made you want to become a wrestler then? Is that really is that feeling?
I believe so. Again, that's what keeps bringing me back to it. Obviously, like whenever I think about wrestling, I think about the crowd. I think about creating a masterpiece. I think about performing. That's the biggest thing. I think about the performance.
Is there a specific? Is it being out in front of the crowd and wrestling in that moment and telling your story? Is that like the most important thing when it comes to wrestling for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, obviously, you want to push yourself. So, I mean, I was like an Olympic style wrestler for a long time. So there is that athletic where you want to push yourself and test your boundaries. But there's also that performance. Like you mentioned when COVID, I did a few matches during COVID, and you're going through your setup, you're getting your shit in, if you will, and I'm going at the comeback, and I'm like, there's like 12 people in the audience, and I'm like, I can't understand, like, am I doing the correct job? Am I eliciting the response from the audience? Because it's hard to tell with 12 people. Like, even if those 12 people are going crazy, it's still, yeah, go! Because, like, they don't have the synergy, they don't have the other crowd to help push them and to kind of like create that cacophony of sound. Because it's like an avalanche. If one person's cheering the next person, it's a wave. So when you have so few people, it's hard to get that energy, get that momentum. And I think that was a big problem for me, that it just didn't feel like I was getting everything out of the crowd and the audience and out of that feeling that I would with like 200, 300, 400 people in a crowd. So that's why I didn't wrestle as much, because I wasn't getting enough back from it.
And that's completely understandable. Is there a moment when you look back on your wrestling career where you're just like, this was exactly what I fight for? Like, this is what I would love to achieve again. Is there like that moment where you were just on fire, the crowd was on fire, you were living in the moment, and like every person in the room was like eating out of the palm? Do you have that moment?
You have a few of those. I've had a few matches. I mean, I hate to beat a dead horse, but Dildo on a Pole was very much one of those matches. At the time, I didn't understand it, but again, now looking back and just seeing how I fed off the audience and it changed how I moved. Again, I don't want to say it's a career-defining performance, but it was one of those things that it was so very different from my style, but it worked so well.
I will, as a person who was in that audience, and I can attest to this, it was so hot that we ate everything you and McSugar did. Hell, we were popping for Ben Omen, and he was the ref, right? Like, no matter what was happening in that match, it was so fucking funny. We all had such a wonderful time, and I'm glad I got to be a part of that experience, especially because, I mean, that was, at this point, one of the more recent matches that you've had at this point.
Yeah, sadly. I think I maybe had, I'll bet you only 10 matches since then, just because of that would have been December of 2019. COVID started shutting everything down. March?
Yeah, March 16th, I know, is when they closed the borders to everything. So I think everything kind of happened that week. About a year ago, or 2 years ago today, essentially. Everything was shutting down.
Yeah, basically.
Crazy. So I'm really glad to hear that you're really wanting to get back into a match. Now, I know your normal job, like you said, it takes a lot of priority. It's a very random job. But, I mean, if you were having the opportunity to be able to tell your story maybe like once a month, if a show was going once a month, do you think you'd be hopping on something like that?
As you said, like, if, like, say with a company that does like a once a month show.
Yeah, exactly.
With RCW, I love what Stephen Owaschuk does, and I bullshit with him like every so often. We'll just send a text, send a horrific meme, and that's how our conversations usually go. It's just, again, just for him having so many shows, it's hard for me to feel like I would make a difference or feel fulfilled in my role, because I would just get lost in the shuffle. There's just so much going on.
Are you working in and around the Edmonton area right now, or are you up in? You were up in Fort McMurray, right? Yeah.
Well, I've got my two houses. Right now I'm in Edmonton, where I have like the adult business, and then Fort McMurray is where I do my firefighting.
And how often are you on and off with that job?
Well, it's not too bad. It's 6 days, so 6 and 6. But the problem is, because it's 6, like say if it was 7 and 7,
you could have,
I could get every weekend off. But because it shifts from 6 and 6 and 6, there'll be like some months I won't have a weekend off. Is the problem, and that's again is trying. If I wanted to be with a show, like if I ran my own company, I could just like, oh, I want this week, and I mean that's why I started CWC, because it worked for my schedule.
Right.
I would just pick the weeks where the shows were and just write everything around myself.
Well, I mean, is there any interest in thinking about, like you said, you've started a business here with the missus, you run a job where you're on 6 days, off 6 days. Have you ever thought about reopening another kind of promotion again, just to have fun?
I mean, you always have those, those pipe dreams and whatnot. I mean, I could. It's just, again, finding the logistics. Now I'm got to get a ring again. Now I've got to get the truck. Now I've got to get storage. Those are the things that are more of a pain than, say, doing the actual shows. Because the shows, you're like, okay, you book these people, they show up, give them their running orders, blah, 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 blah. And I did the social media and stuff, so I could just get back into running ads. That'd be the easy part. Again, it's just the logistics of moving the ring, storing the ring, hauling the ring. That's more the problem than anything.
Totally understandable. It's kind of a nightmare trying to move those things around, especially if you're trying to do things in more short notice, and you have to kind of like trying to figure that stuff out last minute. If you don't have a truck, for instance, good luck trying to move a ring around. Those things weigh a lot and they're huge too.
Oh, that's why you'd have to have your U-Haul, but then again, those are extra costs. And
yeah.
So, but just for the sake of argument, let's pretend I do want to start a company just to start rumors.
Well, I would like to hear that. Would you try for the CWC again? Do you still own the name for the CWC? I'm not sure how that works.
I kind of sold everything over to Tex at whatever it's called, Force Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, Force.
But they haven't really been doing too much. So I don't really know what they've been up to.
If you did, would you try to run in the Edmonton area, or would you become like the Fort McMurray guy?
I don't know. I mean, if I did Fort McMurray again, the problem is now I gotta. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of calls from people at my fire hall.
Do you need to take that?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh, well, up to you. Hey, we can pause. It takes 5 minutes. Who cares?
We're live.
Well, I would pause the mic and everything. How about this? How about we run a commercial? You take that, take 2 minutes. We'll be back. How's that sound?
Okay, bye.
All right. All right, guys. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I am muting the speaker so you can't hear what he's saying. But we'll take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back. We're good again.
That was my work. They're watching us live for our toolbox talk at work.
Are they? Oh, they're just like, oh gosh, I got to ask you some more embarrassing questions then.
That's the morning meeting or it's nightly meeting.
They're just like, we're just gonna watch Dylan be on an interview.
Basically.
Well, we can use this. Oh, hold on. Wait, we have 30 seconds left, so I can start insulting them for only doing 6 on, 6 off. I'll be like, come on, guys, move it to a 7-7. Dylan needs to do wrestling.
How else am I going to touch dudes if we keep this 6 and 6 bullshit?
I am totally going to say that, though. Since I know they're watching, I'm going to, like, give Dylan a 7th day. He needs to wrestle. Alberta needs him.
It's like, I hear firefighters are kind of limp-wristed.
Whoa, yeah, I hear that they don't grow mustaches unless they're a real man.
Like Nate-Toulette, that sexy beast.
All right, we're back. Hey, everybody. So that was a pretty fun little thing, but I would just like to state for the record, if there's any firefighters listening, that I think Dylan deserves a 7-day on, 7-day off schedule because Alberta misses him in wrestling. I'm just saying, if there just happens to be firefighters listening, chances, who knows if that could ever be the case.
If there would be anyone from the Suncor Fire Department or Emergency Services Department.
Or specifically them, yeah. Or anybody who does the scheduling, just make sure that Dylan has Sundays off every week or something like that, or Saturdays every month.
Yes, because I am Mr. Saturday Night.
It's true. I mean, we have a lot of nicknames for you, but we've kind of cut out the other ones since the last interview.
Yeah, it's keep it PG.
A little bit. That's why we went with Mr. Saturday Night. But so I grabbed some questions here that we gotten from the audience, so we can start asking some of those as well. So the first question here from Shout at a Cloud. Are there any plans for a Soviet Dylon Stone gimmick? Imagine the heat.
I mean, I'm in.
They're just like, sure, why not? It gets a reaction out of the crowd.
It's like, where is all this, you capitalist pigs?
Right? I mean, these days, I think you could get some good heat. But, I mean, if you came out to the ring with a cool old Soviet gun, I think that'd be pretty freaking cool. As long as it's deactivated, of course.
Deactivated.
Just like the deactivated gun on the Crow and whoa, just a couple of those different ones. Oh, here's a great one from the Wrestling Rodeo. The dildo on a pole match was my favorite comedy match. Do you have a sequel match planned that can top it?
Now, I like to say that it was a great match, not just a comedy match.
It was a great match.
Actually, we did have a sequel planned, actually. We were filming for when, again, during COVID, once we were trying to get, like, you know, when the Mannies were kind of going in, going out, no one knew what was going on, so stuff was coming up, pulled down for a week, re-lockdown, unlockdown.
Yep.
We were supposed to get everything filmed. I don't remember when it was, maybe a year ago. And we had everything set up. Me and McSugar were going to redo everything. We were going to, like, you know, bigger. Actually, it was going to be a back in the closet match. I remember this.
Sorry, that made me laugh cough.
I built like an 8-foot like a casket, but it was bedazzled. It was painted bright pink. I had like sequins all over it, and it was basically you got to throw them back in the closet.
This is amazing. Do you still have this closet?
No, it's broken. Because it was like 8 feet by 5 feet wide. Because again, we were gonna like do a backdrop in it, so you have to make sure it's wide enough so you don't, I don't know, break your back on the thing like Shawn Michaels did.
Right.
So well, basically everything got locked back down again. People didn't want to show up for the show. So, well, we tore it apart. But if enough people clamor for it, Mike McSugar, I want you.
We get the rematch. I would love to see that. I'm sure that if anybody came and saw the first dildo on a pole match, I'm sure everybody's clamoring for a rematch for that because that was freaking awesome. Definitely one of the standout matches of that night, and that was a really awesome night of wrestling. It's really hard, I would say, to capture what Clandestine was in a bottle. Do you know what I mean? It was so unique in that moment that you had to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were just so many unquantifiable factors, and like you talked about, just a free show. No one knew what was going on. No one even knew the card, I don't think, and it was just like it was streamed live, and for the most part, most of us, like I had just met Mick Sugar that day. We had never worked together before like that, so we just made magic in the ring. Then another match was what was that? Davey O'Doyle and Jack Pride.
The Imitation Game.
Oh yeah, the Imitation Game. They had a great match, and then you also think about the triple threat with MRB,
BVD, and Spencer.
Yeah,
Spencer.
that was one of the most insane matches I've ever seen in my life. So it's just.
Well, my personal match of the year was at that show. I mean, I'm sorry to say it wasn't the dildo on a pole. It was Son of Irish versus Michael Allen, Richard Clark, because I was blown away at how good Son of Irish was for his age. Because I think at the time of that match, he was like, what, 15, 16, something like that?
I want to say 17.
A crazy number, right? Like, just so young and so talented. I was just, that show, amazing.
Oh, God. And yeah, and Little Irish, he's finally starting to come into his own, like physically. I mean, now he's like starting to, like, fill out as an adult. So it's great to see where he can go from here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time. I haven't watched any of his matches in a while, but I'd love to see where he's gotten, like both physically as well as how he puts his matches together.
Are you going to be in Edmonton this Friday?
Actually, I'm going to be in Calgary.
As I go to Edmonton for like the first time, I'm going to be in Edmonton this Friday.
Ships crossing in the night. Yeah, I was thinking of going and check it out, but it's my birthday actually, so I'm actually heading down to Rec Room, and I'm getting a little waisty pants.
Happy birthday! Happy early birthday, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's actually the girlfriend's birthday too. She's a day before me, so me in Calgary for a few days, see a few buddies, have a few drinks, and do some karaoke.
Hey, well, let me know. I'm in only Edmonton for the night. I'm back in Calgary after that, so you just let me know.
What day? Because you're there for the Friday.
I'm going up Friday night for the LPW show, and I'm coming back Saturday morning. So.
Well, we're just playing some board games Friday night, but Saturday's when we go to Rec Room because I'm staying in Calgary for 3-4 days, I think.
Nice. Oh, awesome. Well, at the very least, we got to go grab a coffee or something.
Oh yes, but if you're available, we can play some games in the Rec Room. Maybe we play some Mario Kart or Beerio Kart, as the adults call it.
Maybe we play our games of chess over the board that we've been needing to do, which is way too rare these days, playing over the board.
The thing is, I actually suck at like in-person games because I don't know what it is. I think it's just the articulation of the board. I don't see the board as well, like say on a computer. But then again, you've seen me play chess on a computer, and I'm still horrible. So
you're better than a lot of people. I've always said that you are at least the second best chess player in Alberta wrestling. But yeah. I always claim. But I'm claiming that title still for myself until you beat me.
We'll see. Like we got a best of 3 coming up.
We have a best of 3 coming up. We can't wait to do that. Are you going to be disappearing right at 8:00?
Oh no, I'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, so we can play that.
Yeah,
we'll finish this and then we'll start playing some chess. All right, let's finish some more of these questions here. This was another question from Shadow Cloud. Have you ever considered branding as dildo or DYLdo on a pole match? Dildo on a pole.
I would have to see what kind of graphics I could do. That's the big thing. Is just like, no. I mean, I'm in. I'm not a huge fan of like. It sucks because like. That is like the match I'm like most known for is dildo on a pole, and it's not my style of match or anything at all.
What would you consider your style? Because I know you said you came up doing more of the Olympic style and like that. Like, do you really prefer like the grappling, the technical style?
I like some of that. I think it's definitely again depends on what type of match I'm doing. Like say if we're doing a 30-minute match, I like to do a bit of that, like say in the opening. But I love very athletic. Like I love my springboards. I love jumping. I love flips. I very much love pushing my body. I love the depth defying. I love the feats of strength, and I guess all those near fall type of activities that people see. So I do love that, like the technical aspect of like just chain wrestling and whatnot. I find has its place, but I really do love that the feeling of when like you're pulling out everything you've got in that game 7 overtime feeling. Like I love all that.
You love
Those
going clutch, as they like to say.
Yeah, I like going hard in the paint, if you will.
I like that expression. This is actually a good question that I saw from Sean. I'm going to ask it because out of order, though. But you said you're really well known, especially for the dildo on a pole match. But what's your favorite match that you've had in your career?
Oh, it's hard because I'd have to put them like side by side. Obviously, I've had so many matches with Jack Pride that were great. I wanted to say I think I liked our last one for the Alberta title the best. I want to say.
That we'd say that's your number one is you and Jack Pride.
There's 2 and 2. I obviously like their dildo on a pole. I like that for the storytelling aspect
Right.
of it, but physically it wasn't my favorite match, just because of the styles. For other ones besides that, I'd have to say my last match with Heavy Metal 2 years ago last summer. Might have been 2 years ago last summer. So, which actually comes with a very funny story. So, at the Legion in Calgary, they don't clean their pipes.
You mean like up on the roofs or like just in general?
Yes, because what I was on the roof and I was drinking water from the gutters. No, like so they have a bar upstairs.
Okay.
And so you'll like pop and juice and water and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
They don't clean out the water lines.
Oh, gross.
Okay, so I didn't know this till after, but like during the match, I just felt myself getting sicker and sicker. And it came to the end of the night. Eventually, like as soon as the match was over, I just started violently vomiting. Like it got to the point where the girlfriend had to drive me home, and I puked on myself. I puked in my vehicle. I had to puke in the McDonald's parking lot. Like just projectile vomiting for hours, and it was because the lines weren't clean. So I was actually drinking like a liter of mold.
Ew.
Yeah. But that's what made that match so great because I felt myself fighting the urge to vomit the entire time.
You made it through, man. I am amazed that you can do that. Like when I had an interview, not in this round, but there was a time like back in the past I was doing an interview and I felt so sick, but like that was the only thing I could think of for that entire time, just trying to push through the interview. It is, especially if you're getting thrown around and thrown on your back. Like, how did you manage, man?
Hatred. I think there's something deep in my soul that is broken.
You're just like, I'll get through this and then I can hate my body.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I've puked on myself plenty of times, so this was nothing to me.
Fair enough. All right, I got another quick question here for you. Hypothetical, if a promotion ran live once a month and released footage in show formats, would you be willing to work 2 matches on the same live show?
Oh yeah.
That's a good question. Great. Easy hypothetical then.
Yeah. You want me to just keep going? Sure.
You're just like, sure, we'll tell 2 stories and we'll release those out. And then you can tell great stories. Here's another one. What is the plural of dildo?
This it's like how is this? It's like the plural of moose is meese, obviously. And then what was the plural? Yeah, it could be dildi, but they all say the plural of penis is panasia. That's what Louis C.K. told me.
Right. I know that joke now that you've said that.
It could be dildos, obviously, but if you have the apostrophe, that's possessive, so I don't think that's correct. But I do love dildi.
I like dildi.
Yeah. The dilduses?
Well, would it be dildos, but then S apostrophe as opposed? Because isn't that how you pluralize something that ends in an S?
If it's S apostrophe, I think that's group ownership.
Well, dildos. Maybe somebody's dildos.
Well, if it was someone's dildos or dildi, then I wouldn't need the apostrophe.
I prefer dildi, though. I think we have to go with multiple dildi. Just littering a ring.
A plethora of dildi.
Just a plethora of dildi. Oh, here's a good question from Evil Penguin King. What wrestler, alive or dead, would be your dream match?
Like, are we talking like in their prime or like right now? Am I gonna like?
I assume in their prime. They could be dead. I don't think they'd be very good these days. I mean, you probably have to carry.
Well, I'll have to put some hair back on Shawn Michaels. I'm just gonna like start I'll probably just shave my back and just start plugging.
Just like
hair into his head.
Putting it right into his chest and stuff. Just.
Oh, I would.
So like 1996 Shawn Michaels kind of a thing.
I guess honestly, any year of Shawn Michaels from the '80s all the way up to like 2000 and through when did he retire? That's the thing Like even like his match with Taker
It's
at
in like the
WrestleMania
tens,
25.
I think.
Yeah, so even at WrestleMania 25, I mean, he's still a great storyteller at that point.
But not Saudi Arabia 2019 or 2020 Shawn Michaels.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have never seen that. I don't even know what I don't. Is that a country? What is Saudi Arabia?
You're like, I don't know what that is. I don't believe that.
Never happened.
Non-wrestling question: what gun do you most want to restore? That's a good question.
Like I've been messing with like some Soviet stuff, like a 1947 Tokarev, which is it's a weird caliber. It's like a Soviet version of a 9mm, but it's like this weird pistol. Tokarev, I've done a lot of like with SKSs or self-loading carbine systems, but say with a Russian accent, it is self-loading carbine system. So
makes me think of the old school FPS Russia.
we are going to do cool stuff. I'll do my best not to get sent to jail like he did.
Right. Well, I meant specifically just the accent that you were doing.
Hello, this is Dylan, real Russian. I do things.
Are you of Russian heritage?
Oh God, no.
No. What is your heritage? I have no idea.
I believe the term is white.
Mutt kind of a thing, European mutt, essentially.
Well, I'm actually a Métis. I'm actually French and native.
Do you speak any French? I had no idea.
Oh no, it's a horrible language.
It's a garbage language.
The French aren't real people.
We're not. We don't exist. I just say that as a French speaker who spoke French before English.
It's like Saudi Arabia. You people don't exist.
We don't. We exist to serve a purpose. We come here to talk in English and do interviews.
Just to surrender during wars. That's really.
There you go. Yes. What is it that Groundskeeper Willie called us? Cheese-eating surrender monkeys. I think that was his words.
Cheese-eating surrender monkey. I don't even know what accent I'm doing now.
That was kind of German, I think. It was almost like you were getting into some like Austrian or something there. But dude, this has been a fantastic interview, dude. Thank you so much. This is always such a fun time when we get to chat.
Like again, we can talk about anything even besides wrestling. It's just like, yeah, let's talk about cheese. What is your favorite type of cheese?
I'm a big Gouda and Swiss man.
Swiss man. I mean, I'm a brie. I mean, I love baked brie. Like if we're doing charcuterie, like I'm in all day long.
Dude, baked brie is delicious. I don't know. I find it a little bit dry if you're just eating it right off the rind and like on a cracker or something like that. But a baked brie where it gets a little bit.
And if you have like a sweet chili, like a sweet fire chili jam with it,
Oh, actually, we had another question here. Would you wrestle 5 blow-up dolls at once? That was a question I missed.
Like, is this like a tag match? Is this a gauntlet, or is this like all at once?
I think this is like I'm gonna just go ahead and just make it a battle royal. Just you and a lot of blow-up dolls. And who goes over?
Blow-up doll number 3.
I was hoping that you would say him. He's been really good with the crowds lately. Really hot, really over.
Blow-up doll number 3. So hot right now.
So hot right now. We should like make a jobber around Alberta. Just call him blow-up doll number 3. Everybody needs like the jobber who like wears like the all one-piece suit because I was in in Pure Power Wrestling, the Bumblebee. Is that what that was?
Oh my! I love that because like I wore the Bumblebee suit one time.
Everybody gets to be. I love that though, just having like the one-piece jobber that comes out. I always wanted a crash test dummy as my jobber personally. You know what I mean? Great. With like all the spots getting hit and stuff. That'd be perfect.
It's great to have him. It's just you don't want to be that guy. Like, what? I'm just gonna get thrown around repeatedly. This is great.
Right. Well, I mean, as long as his arm can come off once in a while, that's what you really need. You need a detachable arm wrestler that you can just break as a crash test dummy. I'm a horrible person. I shouldn't say that stuff.
I mean, I like horrible people, so
it's probably we're at the end of the set pretty much anyway. So it's all the fun at this point. Would you like to have that game of chess?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just got to take a tinkle for it.
A big thank you once again to Dylon Stone, Mr. Saturday Night, for joining me here today. Oh man, it was such a fun conversation. Like I said, he's one of my oldest friends in terms of wrestling, and I always have such a great time chatting with him. If you liked what you heard here today, remember to hit that like button, the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, all that good jazz, because it does go a long way. And remember, if you are watching this Tuesday, June 7th, 2022, live on Twitch tonight, we're going to be going live with heavy metal, and I can't wait for that. But anyways, I hope you all have yourself a wonderful day. I hope you guys all check out the different sponsors here today. A big thank you once again to the Canadian Wrestling Archive for letting me put this up here and share Canadian wrestling stories with all of you. I will see you all next Tuesday. See you soon. Bye.